On Capitol Hill, funding will soon run out for some government agencies. The Senate is in recess today after failing to reach an agreement last night on reforms to the Department of Homeland Security and its immigration crackdown. Big story. This could really have an impact on air travel, disaster relief, and a whole bunch more. So as you see right here on the screen, CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killion joining us live from Capitol Hill. So what's the latest in those talks?
Well, the latest, as you point out, is that Congress isn't here. They left yesterday. Obviously, the Senate made an attempt to vote on funding for the Department of Homeland Security, but both of those efforts failed to fund the agency on a longer-term basis as well as on a short-term basis, even for just 2 weeks. So that being said, that means the Department of Homeland Security is poised for a shutdown in light of this potential funding lapse, because short of a vote here on Capitol Hill, there is no way to keep the agency open. And as of now, there are no 11th hour plans to hold a vote. Some lawmakers have even traveled overseas to Germany for a security conference in Munich. So even if they did decide to do something last minute, they don't have the numbers.
Okay, Nicole Killion, thank you so much for that update. Taking a live look at a podium in Arizona where DHS Secretary Kristi Noem is set to speak very soon. We're going to be monitoring her comments, and we'll bring you the headlines as soon as she steps to that podium. Obviously, right now, it looks like they're in preparation mode at the A. Scott Brown Conference Center. But as soon as she goes to that podium, we'll bring you her remarks. Now to CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Sganga. Nicole, ICE and Border Patrol have already been funded through last year's Big Beautiful Bill. So what's the impact here on the ongoing immigration crackdown?
Yeah, well, the impact is really limited, Reed. In fact, as you just mentioned, ICE received over $75 billion with a B, billion dollars through the One Big Beautiful Bill. Tens of billions of additional funding went to U.S. Customs and Border Protection there, so they can really keep all of their badged officers, those who carry guns around, paid during this lapse, this sort of partial shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. And really the implications are for many of the other agencies, for the 61,000 TSA workers who will now go unpaid, despite the fact that 95% of TSA will continue to work throughout this shutdown lapse. The U.S. Coast Guard, 56,000 active duty and civilian personnel who continue to have to work during the shutdown. Others will be furloughed. At CISA, which is the nation's top cybersecurity defense agency, has a very important role of searching for any insider or foreign malicious cyber threats to the nation's power grid, our waterways, and other critical infrastructure. Only about a third of staff is kept working during this partial shutdown. So that's another huge concern, not to mention FEMA will stop reimbursing states for some of its disaster relief programs in the coming days as well. So it really is this political fight over immigration and federal immigration agents, but the implications are on national security and other parts of the Homeland Security apparatus.
All right, Nicole Sganga, thank you for that.